Games with a post-apocalyptic setting are a dime a dozen these days, but it's exceedingly rare to play one from a Russian perspective. In Metro Last Light, the follow-up to 2010's Metro 2033, we're put in the role of a nuclear holocaust survivor named Artyom, living in the subway tunnels underneath Moscow. Last Light gives players a first-person shooter glimpse into this rugged life, with a story surrounding a fascinating setting that's unfortunately held back from greatness by some gameplay deficiencies, paramount among them bad AI, and technical problems.
The massive airlock doors shrugged and opened with a grinding sound, opening a road to hell for us, and a road into the metro for the demons.
If Last Light nails one thing, it's its presentation. Post-apocalyptic subterranean Russia is a true sight to behold, and developer 4A Games has gone through great lengths to realize the setting of novelist Dmitry Glukovsky's universe. The underground is dark and claustrophobic, and the radioactive surface is populated by mutated abominations and lit by oddly beautiful sunrays. Furthering the great look and feel is an acute attention paid to little details. Sometimes characters converse with each other for minutes at a time, giving you glimpses into the lives of everyday people. Old art and pictures adorn the walls of makeshift bedrooms with colorful illustrations of the pre-war days that a new generation never experienced. Last Light's story is strong despite some uneven voice acting, though it unfortunately falls off toward the latter one-third of the game. At first, the focus is on intriguing political struggles between various factions in the Metro, but this all gets a bit muddled as Last Light ventures into the realm of the supernatural. It begins to ignore the setting, personalities, and atmosphere that makes it so interesting right off the bat, in favor of an uncanny tale that gets a little too cerebral and silly for its own good. Unfortunately, Last Light does have some additional presentational deficiencies worth noting, including occasional screen tearing and texture loading issues, and even console freezing. These are somewhat typical annoyances, but in a game that does so much to successfully immerse you, issues like these take you out of the experience. The thing that makes Last Light unique is its emphasis on stealth, and while you could take a guns-blazing approach throughout the 10-hour campaign, it's an experience that's more fun and rewarding if you play it silently. That's not to say that you'll never get to shoot a gun. The radioactive creatures you do battle with are impossible to sneak by. But it is to say that in Last Light, stealth is king. Lights can be turned off and oil lamps can be extinguished to lessen the chance of being seen, but outflanking your enemies to execute quiet backstabs would be easy even on the surface of the sun. Once they spot you though, the enemy soldiers you fight simply aren't that bright. And to Last Light's detriment, they're typically easy to exploit. Whether Nazi, commie, or mutant, it's not all that uncommon to see an enemy crouched down in the corner totally unengaged in the fight. But if you want to go through without a peep, doing so doesn't require much skill. The creatures you fight are on the opposite end of the AI dial. Fighting post-war Moscow's litany of dangerous creatures is perhaps a little too fraught with danger, especially with what appears to be inconsistent damage detection. This creates a sort of pervasive unevenness, which is truly unfortunate since the setting of most of the creatures' battles is above ground in dilapidated Moscow, which is truly a sight to behold and is one of the great highlights of Metro Last Light.
Through here! Through here!
When it comes to setting and presentation, Last Light absolutely shines. It's a pretty game with an utterly compelling setting, interesting characters, and a fascinating lore weaving in and out of everything. Then again, as a shooter, it falls a bit short, and while everything it does right certainly hoists the overall package into the good category, it's unfortunate its gameplay couldn't match its presentation. Spotty AI and unacceptable technical issues on the PS3 in particular mar a game that would otherwise be great. For more on all things video games, keep it tuned to IGN.